Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Oh, yeah, motherfuckers. Oh, yeah, I'm back. This is your main man, Mr. Can You Dig It? Baton Rouge Mayor. And I'm back with a couple hot ticks of these motherfucking politics. Hit that motherfucking subscribe button, nigga. Oh, look, America. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. The ceasefire has now been breached. The Ayatollah motherfucker say fuck that ceasefire and started shooting again. Donald Trump used a duck. Lock his mother...
The so-called ceasefire that Donald Trump was bragging about that accepted all of Iran's 10 demands, as expected, is falling apart right away. It's blowing up in Donald Trump's face and in the world's face, frankly. What you just saw there at the beginning of the video is chaos unfolding in Beirut, Lebanon's capital, as Israel carries out a wave of airstrikes across the country, hitting what it said were more than 100 targets in 10 minutes. Folks, the scene was apocalyptic in Lebanon, and Lebanon was absolutely included in the ceasefire that Donald Trump agreed to. The mediator was Pakistan of the ceasefire agreement. The Prime Minister of Pakistan had previously said yesterday, of course, Lebanon is included and Hezbollah is included. That was one of the 10 negotiating positions of Iran that Donald Trump accepted. And Donald Trump said, we agree with the 10-point plan. Now, Iran has shut down, yet again, the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, it's always been shut down, or I should say under their control, where their allies could use it. But anyone allied with the United States and Israel could not use it. But earlier this morning, 2 ships were escorted by Iranian naval vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. And then Israel hit Beirut. I mean, it's devastating. 100 killed, 500 wounded. Hospital is filled right now in Beirut, and Iran said the Strait of Hormuz shut down once again. We're not letting any ships through, which they weren't really going to let through unless they had a naval escort. And Iran was paid about $1 to $2 per barrel of the oil that were on the tankers, which could basically be around, $1 million to $2 million per tanker. But that's what is going on right now. And this ceasefire has blown up. Now you have, and by the way, it's being confirmed even on state regime media, which calls itself Fox. Jennifer Griffin says Iran state media Fars posted to Telegram, while 2 tankers transited this morning, they will block the Strait of Hormuz as long as Israel attacks Lebanon. And this was from the Fars news agency, so you can see it in their own words, unfiltered right here. This is Iran's media agency. Oil tankers halt passage through the Strait of Hormuz after Israel attack on Lebanon. Simultaneous with the Israeli attack on Lebanon, the passage of oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz has been halted. Then Iranian social media accounts are posting, closed until further notice. Another one says, hey, Trump, if you don't have a leash for the rabid dog Israel, should we get one for you? Pakistan's Prime Minister, meanwhile, Shehbaz Sharif, is saying that it is aware of ceasefire violations that undermine the spirit of the peace process. This is from Pakistan's Prime Minister. He writes, violation of ceasefires have been reported at a few places across the conflict zone, which undermine the spirit of the peace process. I earnestly and sincerely urge all parties to exercise restraint and respect the ceasefire for 2 weeks as agreed upon, so that diplomacy can take a lead role towards the peaceful settlement of the conflict. And now, again, if you look at what the Prime Minister of Pakistan previously said when the ceasefire was announced, let me just read it to you. This was what he said yesterday. So there was no dispute that Lebanon was included because this was the announcement of the ceasefire. With the greatest humility, I am pleased to announce that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America, along with their allies, have agreed to an immediate ceasefire everywhere, including Lebanon and elsewhere, effective immediately.
Oh, look, America. The Epstein files and Netanyahu and the Israel clique is the reason why we in a war right now. We need to go get the Israel clique and Netanyahu ass. Bring them back to America. Put the handcuffs on them. Kick them in the ass. Lock his...
But, Trump got his propaganda media working because as he crashes out, he's like, propaganda media, state regime media, which calls itself Fox. I need your help. And so this is what they have on Fox. They got this guy. He's like, I know lots of people are saying taco. Trump always chickens out, but I got one, nacho. Never avoid confronting hard obstacles. Nacho? Play this clip.
So Democrats are already saying that this is taco. Trump always chickens out. Let me give you another acronym. Nacho. Never avoids confronting hard obstacles. And that's exactly what President Trump did.
Hungry.
He went in.
I know, we were like...
I made that up on my own.
That's pretty good.
Because I was thinking about the opposite of what that would be. He didn't chicken out. He's willing to confront what previous presidents for 47 years couldn't do to stand up to him.
Then Trump's other sycophant propagandist, Jesse Waters, said, okay, one of the good things about this ceasefire deal is we know their pressure points now. Trump's identified Iran's pressure points. What pressure points, Jesse? Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. A more powerful version of the Islamic Republic is in charge. Iran is now not just a regional power, but a world power. They have all of their ballistic missiles and Shahed drones, and the U.S. is flailing. But okay, talk to us about pressure points. Let's play this clip.
We have set them back militarily years. They can't come back from this. And they have no leadership. They have nothing. They have nothing left. And we did it without boots on the ground. And we only lost 13 brave service members, and we did it within the timeline the president said he was going to do it. If you had rewound it and said all of these things could happen, if this was going to be the result, you would probably say, yeah, I'd probably go for it. I probably would have gone for it. Now, listen, we got to win the peace. This isn't over, but it does give the American soldiers a little R&R, which they need. We can re-rack the guns, we can bring in more interceptors, and we can watch what the Iranians do. And if they screw around, we can go back and hit them. You know why, Jessica? Because we know their pressure point. We threatened Bridge and Power Plant Day. And what happened? Khomeini, the gay Ayatollah, said, we gotta sign a deal. And the Chinese came in and says, guys, your economy is already dead and it's never coming back if you guys keep fighting. Sign a deal. That was the Reuters team and the Times both reported that Trump's threat made them cave.
Yeah.
And now we can just watch and we can go back in and do what we need to do. But if you guys aren't going to agree with the fact that we now call it the Gulf of America, if you can't even say, yeah, that's good. Okay, we don't need you. You've been against everything this guy's done, good or bad.
And just
Oh, look, America. These are the 10 agreements that the Ayatollah motherfuckers have gave Donald Trump and he have to abide, or they gonna cut off the Strait of Hormuz. Number 1, committed to non-aggression, continue of Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance of uranium enrichment, lifting up all primary sanctions, lifting up all secondary sanctions, terminating all UN Security Council resolutions, termination of a Board of Governors resolution, payment of compensation to Iran, withdrawal of U.S. combat forces to Iran, casualties of war, all fronts included against Ayatollah in Lebanon. Lock his motherfucking ass up. That bitch fuck clean over as you know that motherfucker was a crook.
Now, number 1, a commitment to non-aggression against Iran, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the Iranian Shiite groups in Iraq, continuation of Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance of Iran's uranium enrichment, lifting all primary sanctions from Iran, lifting all secondary sanctions of Iran, termination of all UN Security Council resolutions, termination of all Board of Governor resolutions, payment of compensation to Iran, withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region, cessation of war on all fronts, including against Hezbollah in Lebanon. That's
Oh, look, America. Cocaine Pete Hegseth and his Nazi Pentagon then started to threaten the Pope, all because the Pope was talking about the war crimes. Pete Hegseth said he can do what he want to do. Put the handcuffs on him. Lock his mother.
Pope Leo XIV is absolutely furious at Donald Trump and the Trump regime and their behavior. As we previously reported, Pope Leo has called off all visits essentially to the United States on the 250th United States anniversary. July 4th, Pope Leo made a point that he will be in Lampedusa in Italy, spending his time showing compassion for the migrant community there. And we're learning some additional details as Pope Leo XIV has been calling out Donald Trump and his despicable regime's imperialist and tactics of saying we're going to obliterate civilizations and everything is going to war. We're going to obliterate you and destroy everything. Pope Leo XIV has been calling that out. And, J.D. Vance, who converted to Catholicism, and Pete Hegseth, who invokes God all the time, Pope Leo XIV has been pretty much directing messages without necessarily saying their names, but it's clear he's calling them out. And so what the Trump regime tried to do, and this was a tactic that Hitler did with the bishops right before Hitler engaged, in the Holocaust or right around that time, is to threaten Pope Leo XIV and to threaten the Holy See with the United States military. And essentially the same way the Trump regime was threatening to invade Greenland, right behind the scenes, what we're learning today is that the United States was making threats that suggested that they would use military force against the Holy See, against the Vatican, against Pope Leo XIV. And they summoned Pope Leo XIV's, like, Ben, what are you talking about? Yes, they summoned Pope Leo XIV's top American diplomat to the Pentagon, which now calls itself unlawfully the Department of War. The Undersecretary of War, Elbridge Colby, invoked the Avignon papacy, the period when the French crown used military force to bend the Bishop of Rome to its will. And they said that we have the power. This is what the Trump regime said to Pope Leo XIV's top diplomat in the United States, that we have the military power to do whatever we want. Whatever we want, we will do in the world. And Pope Leo XIV, he needs to know that. So the Catholic Church has better take sides, and they better take the right side. Now, this meeting that took place that I just referenced was in January, and it followed Pope Leo XIV's speech, which was kind of a state of the world speech that he gives. And as Christopher Hale writes, in the speech that enraged Pete Hegseth and top Pentagon officials, Pope Leo XIV said, a diplomacy that promotes dialogue and seeks consensus among all parties is being replaced by a diplomacy based on force. War is back in vogue and a zeal for war is spreading. The principle established after the Second World War, which prohibited nations from using force to violate the borders of others, has been completely undermined.
Oh, look, America. Sunday, Donald Trump threatened Iran and 93 million people with annihilation, genocide, war crimes. Put the handcuffs on him. Him and Pete Hegseth. Lock they motherfucking ass.
Donald Trump's like, if it were up to me, I would keep the oil. I want to keep all of Iran's oil. Play this clip.
And we've obliterated a very powerful country in 34 days. Yeah, if it were up to me, I'd like to keep the oil. I just don't think the people of the United States would really understand.
Oh, look, America. These are the exact words that Donald Trump spoke the other day to the world. A whole civilization would die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have a complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalization minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary wonderful can happen. Who knows? Well, find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world, 47-year-old extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless great people of Iran. Lock his motherfucking ass up. Those war crimes. Straight the fuck up.
Initially, Iran rejected this idea of a ceasefire without a permanent commitment from the U.S. They demanded a toll for the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. That was a total non-starter. And total amnesty, as we understand it, for its, again, whatever is left of its top officials. Both were not going to be given or guaranteed by the United States. So again, politically, militarily, everything was on the line. Because even some of President Trump's most committed MAGA supporters they're getting anxious, holding their breath. They're like, did he really mean that? Is he going to do that? And notoriously hawkish Wall Street Journal cautioned the president to pick tonight's targets wisely. They wrote a whole editorial on this, saying, try to distinguish between infrastructure that has a military purpose and infrastructure that could be destroyed and just completely ruin the lives of innocent people in Iran, the people we were supposedly trying to help.
Oh, look, America. The Botox face skank Lauren Ingram from our Fox and Friend News need to be took off air, kicked in her ass, put the handcuffs on her, and lock her motherfucking ass up. She think this shit is a game. She's stoking this motherfucking war.
So I guess we're going to just allow for a little bit of a grace period. The president says, we don't even mind Iran charging tolls as long as we get a 50% cut. He said a joint venture would be a beautiful thing. I'm not sure an Iranian toll booth with tankers, even with the U.S. kickback, is wise, but I'd rather have the Iranians taxing tankers than bombing them. I'm sure they'll hash it out at their Pakistani peace summit. It's not like we'd pay. We don't get oil from the Strait. It's a small premium for peace in the Middle East.
And then Jesse Waters is like, so if we go back in, the markets are not going to overreact. Watch what Jesse Waters says right here. Let's play it.
So we'll have more Marines in the region. And we're still flying over Iranian airspace, monitoring the situation. A ceasefire is a release valve for the stock market. It's already almost rallied all the way back to where it was at the start of the war. Oil prices have already tapered off, and every day we don't drop bombs, prices drop. If we go back in, it'll be a quick one too, and the markets won't overreact. We hold the cards, and the military is ready for everything.
And here's what Laura Ingraham says. Let's play this clip.
But Trump wanted to hear all of it. So what we can gather from this report is that almost everything we heard from the other side about how this all went down was a lie. Trump did not simply follow Bibi's recommendation. He was fully briefed from the Pentagon and intel communities. He did have an open and productive dialogue from his entire war cabinet, who each gave informed assessments. And finally, President Trump, as always, understood leverage, and then when he made his decision, how to use it. This is how the White House is supposed to work. They're not supposed to sit over in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and do whatever the press or the pundits or cable or podcast hosts or global elites want them to do. The president is supposed to act in the long-term interest and security of the United States, not in his own short-term political interest.
And then you had, Megyn Kelly just losing it here. Let's play this clip.
Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president, 388, yes, shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit.
And then she went on Piers Morgan, and here's what she had to say. She's like, it's all Netanyahu's fault. Here, play this clip.
Trump watched us learn it. And so what led Trump, at 79 years old, to sit in there in that situation room when Bibi Netanyahu was seated as an equal?
Yeah.
Trump didn't even sit at the head of the table. Trump sat at the side of the table, and Bibi was across from him as an equal in the American Situation Room. What led him to sit there and buy what that guy was selling hook, line, and sinker when every other president was able to see through that liar. What was it? Because he was told the next day by our own top advisors, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of State to the vice president, that these are lies and that these objectives are not going to be attainable. Don't believe him. We might be able to wipe out the Ayatollah, not regime change, Ayatollah. And we might be able to decimate some portion of their missiles and their military. Okay, that's true. But the goals as stated by Trump when we actually did pull the trigger were all over the board. And to this moment, he's pushing the BS claim that we affected regime change. No, we didn't. It's the same regime, just different players. There isn't somebody more moderate in there at all. We have no reason to believe that. In fact, it looks like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is in control now, which is far more radical. And the fatwa that had allegedly been issued by the Ayatollah on developing nukes is gone. Iran is more powerful economically. It controls the strait and now is demanding the lifting of all sanctions against it. And what Trump did with that 10-point plan was go from Monday saying, no, not good, to Tuesday saying, very workable, we can do it, as a means of saving face to bail off of his insane threats about annihilating an entire civilization. So I don't know how we got here, Piers. I'd like to know just as much as anybody else, but all I can think in my head, based on what I've read in the paper, is we got here thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, Lindsey Graham, and Mark Levin. And ultimately President Trump. That's not to take agency away from the president, who was bamboozled. I don't know why. He was too weak to say no. He was too gullible to see through the lies. One way or another, he allowed himself to be pushed into this insane conflict.
Oh, look, America. Make no motherfucking mistake about it. Donald Trump launched his war for the Epstein class in Israel. Netanyahu. Israel and Netanyahu. Bring their ass to America. Lock they motherfucker.
Meanwhile, Iran just keeps on making these like Lego mocking meme videos about Donald Trump. This is their latest one that they made on Donald Trump that they're distributing through Iranian media. Let's play it.
Hey, Orange Pig. America first? Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you stole. But Bibi's pulling strings and your vote is getting cold. We're not just fighting for Iran, hear this clear. Your people reached out to us. Yeah, we got the DMs here. If one nation's gonna stand against the Epstein regime's fear, it's us till the last breath. We've been doing it for years. We're standing here for everyone your system ever wronged. They've known all along the enemy was always you. The real threat war student sung a patriotic song while selling their own citizens and calling it strong. Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies, the illusions of burst. You screamed America first, now you put losers first. Make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all. We saw everything. If the public ever saw the files, man, the planet would shake from the level of filth and the crimes in your wake. No wonder Jeff called you the worst, you degenerate snake. You claimed you never set foot. You went 40 plus times. You sick bastard, you cooked. We stepping up to the plate, Epstein regime gotta fall. You fake Christian elite, sacrificing the ball. Demon, you talk real big for a man with tiny hands. Tiny hands, tiny things, tiny everything. We saw everything, and word got out, the smallness kinda expands. No wonder all those rage tweets, all those desperate rants. Overcompensating bully, always causing the scene. You said you love losers, well, look at your team. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all.
Oh, look, America. Pete Hegseth, cocaine Pete Hegseth, has now threatened the Pope. Now the Pope say he don't want to even travel to America because of the threats of Pete Hegseth over the war crimes he committed. Put the handcuffs on him. Kick him in his ass. Lock him.
Now, I think when Pope Leo XIV was ultimately made the Pope, lots of people became the Pope. Lots of people were looking at his background, the first American Pope born and raised in the United States of America, and then obviously studying and traveling abroad and rising through the ranks of the Catholic Church abroad. But I think someone who was known that would stand up against the exact type of things that Donald Trump is engaging in now, and he has not shied away from it. Remember when Donald Trump had he's still having it, but when the ICE and Border Patrol, Gestapo were rounding up and killing and murdering and maiming people in the streets, you had Pope Leo XIV standing up, speaking out, coordinating with cardinals in the United States and bishops and the church. And the church got really active, as you remember. I mean, going into the federal immigration buildings. I mean, being there, demanding that they be able to pray with the individuals who were kidnapped and administer mass. All of that was happening, and Pope Leo XIV was behind it all, and he was directing it. I mean, just to show you some other data points, I mean, this was Pete Hegseth. This was Hegseth yesterday, invoking the name of God over and over again in terms of threatening the entire civilization of Iran with genocide. Here, play this clip.
Our troops, our American warriors, deserve the credit for this day. But God deserves all the glory. Tens of thousands of sorties, refuelings, and strikes carried out under the protection of divine providence. A massive effort with miraculous protection. Dude 44 Bravo spoke for all of us. God is good.
Then you had J.D. Vance on the tarmac after trying to prop up Viktor Orban, Putin's puppet. J.D. Vance was saying that he doesn't even know who Cardinal Christophe Pierre is, and has no clue about any of these people. And we don't know about the threats that were taking place by the Defense Department threatening essentially war, threatening to attack and invade the Holy See. And go back to the Avignon papacy in the 13th century. This is what J.D. Vance, I don't know. Here, play this clip.
X has been abuzz the last couple of days with the Free Press story saying that senior Pentagon officials in January, including Rich Colby, brought Cardinal Pierre into the Pentagon.
Brought who?
Cardinal Christophe Pierre into the Pentagon.
I haven't seen this story, unfortunately.
And essentially the reporting by the Free Press is that they told him that the American military has a lot of might and they can do whatever they want, and the church should get on its side. Does that message sound correct to you? Is that something you would sign off on?
So one, I with no disrespect to the Cardinal, I don't know who Cardinal Christophe Pierre is.
He's the ambassador to the Holy See and the U.S.
Oh, okay. I do. I've met him before. Sorry, I just didn't remember the name. I've never seen this reporting. I'd like to actually talk to Cardinal Christophe Pierre and frankly to our people to figure out what actually happened. I think it's always a bad idea to offer an opinion on stories that are unconfirmed and uncorroborated, so I'm not going to do that.
Oh, look, America. These are Donald Trump exact words that he told the American people and the Iranian people. Check this out. This is what Donald Trump said. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and a bridge day, all wrapped up in one, in Iran. There will be nothing left of it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you will be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. Do that sound like a motherfucking president to y'all? Do that sound like a motherfucker that's out for the good thing? No. So this is what I want you to do with Donald Trump, and this is what we're going to do with him. Put the handcuffs on him. Kick him in his ass. Lock his motherfucking ass up. Him and his whole mother...
If your children are watching, be warned, the president did not use polite language. Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch.
Oh, look, America. Well. Nah, Donald Trump then bucked Melania Trump up to go on C-SPAN today, America, to try to plead the case with the Eileen Maxwell and Epstein file case. She claimed Donald Trump, never knew Epstein. Check this out, though. We already got the documents. We already got the news clippings. We already know, Melania, you was their best friend. Melania Trump America met Donald Trump at the Kit Kat Club in the early 90s. She was introduced to Donald Trump by, guess who? Epstein and Elaine Maxwell. The bitch is lying. Lock her motherfucking ass up, her and her motherfucking perverted ass husband.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein's abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth.
Oh, look, America, we have a president that's not well. He's in cognitive decline, and his fingers are on a nuclear button. He have lackeys, bootlickers, and assholes who's egging him on. He has news network like Fox and Friend News, Jesse Waters, Laura Ingraham, the Botox face skank, all egging him on. He's not well. The Republican Party is not the Republican Party anymore. It's a Trump party. It's the party of Trump. It's the party of Christian white nationalists. It's the party of racism. It's the party of MAGA. Donald Trump need to be kicked in his ass, handcuffed, and lock his motherfucking ass up. The whole motherfucking Republican Party and the whole motherfucking administration. And Netanyahu too. Lock his motherfucking ass up.